podcast, Microsoft Word for Legal Professionals. And a special thank you to today's sponsor, Smokeball. We are excited to be joined by Jordan Turk. Jordan is a practicing attorney in Texas and is also the legal technology advisor at Smokeball. She earned a BA in Classics, History, and Religious Studies from the University of Texas and went on to earn her law degree from the University of Arkansas School of Law. Prior to Smokeball, Jordan worked with a high-asset family law firm in Houston, Texas. And Jordan, I will go ahead and turn our presentation over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Luke. Okay, we will get started here because there is a lot to cover in a very short amount of time. So welcome everybody to Microsoft Word for Legal Professionals. I'm really happy to be back with ALA. I've spoken at your annual conference before a couple times. I loved it. Y'all really know how to put on a conference and how to put on a party. So my favorite organization by far. And really, truly, just quick shout out. Y'all are such a motivated, passionate group. And you are the real reason behind why firms are successful. We all know this, but I just need to speak it out into existence. But it's normally, such a thankless job. But you are the ones that really keep the train on the tracks. And shout out to my old firm administrator, Angie. If you are watching, you are an angel and I love you. All right, without further ado, we're just going to get started. So as Lorika mentioned before, quick housekeeping. If you have questions, go ahead and pop those into the chat box, and we will get to those around the last 10 minutes of today's session. So recording and slides, all that good stuff is going to be available to you after today's session. So just FYI, you can look for those afterwards. Right, and just a little bit more about me. So I am a practicing family law attorney down here in Texas. So, all the drama all the time, and the holidays make it even better because nobody has any custody disputes around the holiday time. Never happens. But prior to Smokeball, as Lorika mentioned, I worked for, at the time, it was one of the biggest family law firms in the country. We had about 40 attorneys on staff when I left. So again, shout out to Angie, our firm administrator, for working through all of that. But part of it was too, it was great because I got kind of exposed to a lot of the inner workings of the firm, a lot of administrative tasks, a lot of things that go, a lot of heroes that go unsung, right, when it comes to running kind of a bigger law firm. And so I know exactly what our firm administrator had to put up with, which was a lot. So again, y'all are angels. And I'm also, as Lorika mentioned, the legal technology advisor here at Smokeball. So for those who are unfamiliar with what Smokeball is, we are an all-in-one cloud-based practice management software for legal professionals. So that means we help you manage all of your day-to-day attorney and administrative tasks and workflows. So think about it from calendaring deadlines to document automation and storage to time tracking, everyone's favorite, to invoicing and billing automations, and to everyone's favorite three-way trust account reconciliation. We're there to help you with all of it. So, and I've also been told time and time again by legal practice consultants that our reporting features are the best in the industry, which is always a nice little pick-me-up for me. Really, any type of report that you would like to run, we do it. Obviously, my most used report is related to AgeJR because for some reason, no one ever wants to pay their divorce attorney. It's very strange. But specifically relevant to today, I really want to highlight our ridiculous integration with Microsoft Office and Word. So think about your attorneys never having to manually save down another email ever again, or imagine pulling up a Word document because you want to send a client, a message about a bill, and their information is already pre-populated into that document. And when you save it, it saves it into that client's file. So no more having to save things down to your desktop and then upload them into your software later, things like that. Smokeball does this all for you. So if you want to learn more about Smokeball and about how it can help your particular firm, we're going to have a poll at the very end of this session where you can request that we reach out to you with more information. It is a fabulous piece of software. It's now what I use in my firm. All right, and to get into the nitty-gritty of today, so here's what we're going to be going over. I'm actually going to be doing a live demonstration of this Word for all of it. Like, we're actually going to be playing around in Microsoft Word for all of this. So really, truly, the slides that you will get a copy of, treat them as a reference material because we're going to actually do a live demonstration in Word for the vast majority of today's session. So just FYI on that one. And really, truly, the best way to kind of handle this is, especially if you have two screens, you have a dual monitor, open up a random Word document on your other screen and have that open so that you can kind of test things out as we go through it. So when I say certain things or like give you certain commands, it's really great to be able to just do that yourself in real time. It's a lot of fun. All right, but without further ado, I'm going to start sharing my screen so that we can get into Microsoft Word. Here we go, and sharing screen 2. Look at me go. I can use technology. All right, so this is just a random Word document that I have open. I'm sorry if you didn't want to learn about attorney succession today, but here it is. This is just a random document that I have open on my computer. So again, really easy if you have this or have a document already open in front of you. My personal goal, as far as Microsoft Word especially, is I want to use my mouse as minimally as possible as I'm typing, because a lot of times, especially if I'm working remotely, I only have my laptop and it has a very terrible trackpad that is usually covered in grease of some sort from something that I'm eating. And so I can't really use my mouse properly with that too. So part of this is I want you to be able to uh, get so used to Microsoft Word that you don't have to rely on your mouse nearly as much. And I know a lot of us are very much still frustrated with Word, right? Format gets messed up. I didn't mean to paste something improperly into this document that now hates me, and it sends me into a rage spiral. So I get it, and I'm here for you. So we're going to get into this, and first to start talking about common keyboard shortcuts for Microsoft Word. So the trick to these is repetition. So you want these to start becoming muscle memory for you so that you don't have to right click all the time on your mouse, right? So the goal is to just get this down pat for you. So the first one that we're going to do is everyone's favorite that you should already know. It's Control C, right? So Control C is copy. And that's going to be the easiest one for you to learn and make sense, right? Because C, copy, makes sense. Now it's Control P, goes to the printer. It does not go to paste. So do not get confused with that. Control V, as in Victor, is what pastes this into your document. And then the one that everybody should know, regardless of what you do, is Control Z, as in zebra, which will undo. So instead of having to go all the way up here and find that undo button, right? Or go to File and then undo, Control Z will do that for you. So, oh, I pasted something. Oh, I didn't want to do that. So Control Z, as in zebra, is what gets you there. And that's a lovely one to do. Highly recommend that one. That's my favorite one to use. Always, always, because I'm constantly making mistakes. So undo is my favorite thing. Another one is Control N, as in Nancy, and that gives you a brand new document. So super great on that one because you don't have to go all the way up here and go to File and then try to open up New, and then you have to click on 5 million things, right? You're trying to reduce the amount of times that you have to click. So Control N, as in Nancy, will give you a brand new document. Now let's say you're in the middle of a document and actually you just want to go all the way up to the very beginning of it. If you do Control Home, so that Home button is located above your arrow keys. You might wonder, what was this for? Why did they put this here? Well, this is why. So if you are at any point of the document and you just want to get back to the beginning instead of having to scroll, scroll for years and years of your life, Control Home will get you to the very beginning of that document. And then conversely, Control End does exactly what you think, and it will take you down all the way to the very end of that document. So these are very not often used. I would say these really aren't used all that often, but they should be used more because it's so much easier, especially if you have a 50-page document, or say you're running your bulk bills and you're trying to figure this out and you have, 200 pages of bills and you just want to get back up to the top. This is a nice one too to do. It is lovely. And then if you have a problem like I do, and say you want to highlight a sentence, but sometimes it just gets too long, and so you end up taking 5 million years just to highlight one sentence, easy as pie, and what you should do is hold down Control and then double click any word in that sentence. And that's going to highlight the entire sentence. If you just Control one click, there you go. It does the entire one. So it's just Control, one click, the entire sentence is highlighted. And that is such an easy one to do because, again, my problem is I'm usually doing this. I'm not highlighting the whole thing, or I'm highlighting too much. So just Control, one click gets you that entire sentence, which is lovely. If you Control and then triple click anywhere in that paragraph, it will highlight the entire paragraph. So no longer do you have to figure out and hope that you're not going to have, butterfingers and that you're going to be able to, highlight whatever you want. Really just use Control, double click, or control click once, the whole sentence, control triple click for the whole paragraph. It is lovely. And let's say you want to highlight, you want to highlight a part of a document. So maybe you want this part of the document until the end. You absolutely can do that. So all you do is hold control and then shift and then end, and that highlights that entire part of the document, but only the part that you wanted. So put your cursor where you want and then control shift end. It's beautiful. Use it. It's lovely. Another one that you'll use all the time, even though you wouldn't think so, is say you want to highlight the entire document, control A as an apple. So that gives you the entire document is highlighted, and then you can go and copy, paste, or cut and do whatever you want from there. It is lovely. Now, the next thing to talk about would be the quick access toolbar, which nobody knows where it is or what it does, or they only use it sporadically. But if you look all the way up at the top in the upper left-hand corner of your Microsoft Word document, you'll see that, there's some icons, things like that. If you drag your mouse over the icon, it kind of gives you a preview of what it is. But this is your quick access toolbar. Now, the cool thing about it all is you can customize it and put whatever you want on there. And what we're going to do first, though, is to make it easier for you, and something I suggest that every single person does, is go and click on this little arrow. It's obnoxiously small up here for this quick access toolbar, and click show below the ribbon. So you now see that your quick access toolbar has moved from up here to down here, which makes it a lot easier. You don't have to scroll over to figure out what each icon means, right? It's all here laid out for you. And then the cool thing about this now is you can completely customize anything. So any function that you use a lot, you can put it up here. So for instance, let's say that you're constantly opening up a new document, and say you don't want to click on Control New, or you don't want to click on File and then New. You can actually add this to the quick access toolbar. So look at this. And now here's the new blank document that you can click on. If you don't like it, or you want to remove any of these, it's completely customizable. You just right click, remove from quick access toolbar. And the right click is very powerful in Microsoft Word. If you're not familiar with it, so just really try to right click anything that you possibly can. It'll get you a lot more information when it comes to Microsoft products, which is really great. So this is a really important function, this quick access toolbar. If you aren't familiar with it, or you're not familiar with what your maybe most used things in Microsoft Word would be, now would be the time. So, and if you want to add commands, go to More Commands, and then they'll default you with this list that says popular commands. Ignore that. Click on all commands. And this might overwhelm you a little bit, but don't let it overwhelm you. So for instance, what you need to do is just think about, okay, what do I do a lot in Microsoft Word? So maybe what I do is I email a lot, and I like to send things via PDF to people, and I would love to be able to do that just straight from Microsoft Word. So I'm going to go down and find the email features. And yes, here this is email as a PDF attachment. So I'm going to add that, click OK, and you'll see that's now popped up here in your quick access toolbar. So same with new document, anything that you think that you use a lot of. So maybe we'll just add this for later. I'll show y'all in a little bit how this comes into play. But for instance, maybe I want something along the lines of, I use a lot of symbols when I'm typing, especially for when I'm citing cases and things like that, when I'm citing subsections of things. So what I probably want then maybe is symbol. So I'm going to add that, insert a symbol, and then also add this too, because you'll love it later. But go to, it seems very overwhelming, I promise it's not, but go to autocorrect options, make sure to add that. And again, it'll come into play later. And we'll click OK on that, and you'll see all of this gets up here. So if there's anything that you use a lot of, put it in your quick access toolbar. For instance, if you do footnotes a lot, you can add footnotes into here. Anything that you use that you click on a lot that would require you to have excess clicks, you can put here in your quick access toolbar. And so this is going to be a really big one. But remember, make sure that you pin it under the ribbon. So remember, this is what it looks like before, which kind of sucks because you can't see what each thing does. You would have to hover over it, the icon, to see what it does. So that's why instead I highly recommend that you put it below the ribbon. Makes it a whole lot easier. It also just makes the document look cleaner, in my opinion. All right, but now we're going to go into automation. So I know that word is very scary. And that's actually what we do at Smokeball a lot. It's automation. That's kind of what we were built upon. But you can dip your toe into the water of automation and have Microsoft Word kind of do it for you. So let's say that there is a chunk of text that you always use. Maybe it's a signature block that you use. Maybe it's a little confidentiality blurb that you put in your emails or your documents and things like that. And let's say you use it all the time, and so many documents that you draft every day when you're at the office. You can automate that instead of having to copy and paste it from a prior document and things like that. And you have to download that document, open it up, and then copy paste that wording. You can have Microsoft Office or Microsoft Word do this for you. So how you do that is, let's say you have this bit of text and you want to save it because you use it all the time. Obviously, it's not going to be a text about succession, but something else that you use all the time. So you'll highlight it, and then anything that you highlight can be saved for future reference. So here's what you do. You highlight the text, you go to the insert ribbon. So look in the upper left-hand corner, you click on that insert ribbon, and then go to what is called Quick Parts. Click on Quick Parts, go to Auto Text, and you can save selection to Auto Text Gallery. And the key here is name it something that you are going to be able to easily recall. So maybe it's a signature block. And I can't spell signature right, so that would be a disaster. But so maybe it's a signature block, and so that's what you save it as. It's the signature block that you always like to use, and this is what you want to put in all of your documents, right? Perfect. So you can save it as that, but it needs to be a name that you will remember, and then you can click OK. And so let's say we're at the end of the document, you know what, we want to insert our signature block. So if you start typing in signature block, you'll see this little pop-up comes up here. And it's actually what we just saved, and it says press enter to insert. And it will insert that entire thing. So a lot of attorneys like to use this for like discovery objections and things like that, maybe case styles. But for you especially, I would think anything with regard to something that you are always sending out to clients, whether it's, whether it's your signature block or a blurb of information that you like to put, maybe a CYA type of situation that you'll put into letters to clients or things like that. Super easy peasy to just automate that and put that into Microsoft Word and let Microsoft Word store that for you. You can also click F3 and do the title, and the same thing will happen where it will pop up for you too. But so that's kind of the baby mini version of automation. You can also put this auto text option. So say you're just starting out on this and you have a lot of templates that you want to put into Microsoft Word for this automation feature, for this quick parts feature. If you're doing it, I would just go ahead and add that as a command in your quick access toolbar. So where you can actually go and find auto text and you can add it in here, and then it'll pop up here. And so you can just add as many parts as you want so that you don't keep having to click on insert and then quick parts and do it all that. You can just kind of do it as efficiently as possible with that one. So highly recommend that, but especially if it's stuff that you use over and over again, wording that you use over and over again, maybe it's about getting a client to pay and you kind of always use the same type of template with that. This is where you would put it. If you were using Microsoft Word, if you didn't have anything kind of in your wheelhouse where they could automate the documents already, this is kind of like the baby version of automation. But quick caveat to that is that Quick Parts does not remember the formatting of the document that it came from. So it's only going to remember the document that you pasted into. So for instance, if you took that Quick Parts from a document that was Times New Roman and you're pasting it into here, here is Calibri. So it's going to paste as Calibri. So just FYI. And anything, the margins, anything that was changed in the original document that you copied it from will be adapted to the new document. So just keep that in mind. And then I'm going to actually go back to the slides now real quick so I can show you what this looks like. Again, feel free to use these as reference, but so I kind of showed you what automation looks like, and here's what Quick Parts looks like in Word. Also, find and replace is phenomenal. And actually, let me go back to that real quick. So find and replace is a really cool feature. Oop, I don't want to show myself high. Is a really cool feature where let's say that you are going through a document and for instance, if it's a template, which we use all the time, but let's say that maybe there's a document that has client's name in it, and instead of it just saying client in brackets, you want it to be, Mrs. Smith. So what you can do is find and replace, go to this little key right here in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, and you can find and replace that and say, okay, every time it says client, I want it to say Miss Smith, except I can't type. And so every time you do that and you click replace all, it will say, okay, we made one replacement, which was up here, and it is now Mrs. Smith or Miss Smith. So it's a really cool feature, find and replace, especially if you are doing kind of bulk things where you just need to change out names and nothing else really needs to happen there. As far as that goes, a word of caution though, I will say. We'll get back to the slides with this. Be very careful with that. So you can kind of relive my trauma with me briefly here, but at one point I was writing a prenuptial agreement. It was about 50 pages long, with not including schedules, and I wanted to claw my eyes out, but we did it and I got it done. And then pan to, we are there, we are all at my, in my boardroom, we're all signing it. I'm there, my client's there, opposing counsel, opposing party, a court reporter is there, a videographer is there, and I've made multiple copies for everyone. Here we go, let's do it. And our notary is there too. And then it was pointed out to me that I had misspelled my client's last name. I had accidentally added on an extra L because I was just doing a find and replace where it would have said, petitioner or client, and I accidentally butterfingered that and put two L's on his name, and I wanted to go die in a mortification corner and just stay there for the rest of my life because it was terrible and there was no time to change it. It was just thousands of pages copy at that point, and it was terrible. So a little word of caution when it comes to finding and replacing in Microsoft Word. It is lovely, but it is not foolproof. So you still have to double check your work on that. Make sure that you spelled, for instance, your client's name correctly. Thank gosh. I mean, he was a great guy, and I'm very grateful that he took that in stride, my client. It ended up being fine. He's still married, so it's all good. All right, and then modern automation examples. So I just pulled this up from Smokeball because it's easy because I have it. But so this is what modern automation looks like. So if you're wondering, hey, I'm hearing this word all the time, what does this mean? It basically means that, on the left, you can enter in all of your case information one time. And then on the right, it shows any document that you would pull up after the fact in that case would be auto-populated with that information. So there's no more finding and replacing. There's no more, copy pasting or anything like that, or worrying about whether you have the right client or the right file, because sometimes, especially if you have a bulk practice where it's a lot of, it's a numbers game and you have a lot of clients, right? It's a lot easier for things to kind of slip through the cracks and things like that. So that's what automation does, is that it allows you to kind of set it and forget it when it comes to all of the information related to your case and your client file. And this is what it looks like too. Now, especially for law firm administrators, this is what my firm administrator likes the most out of everything, is that basically if she ever wants to email a client, all she has to do, since it's completely automated within Smokeball, is you pull up a Word document and then everything is auto-populated. So the date, the address, the subject line, the signature, everything is auto-populated. So all she has to do is go in and type the substance of the email that she wants. Or if it's an email that she sends all the time, that would also already be auto-populated too. She would just save that document. So it is extremely powerful. So when you hear about automation, more and more, especially document automation, this is what they're talking about. So this is just an example of that. And I just showed you kind of how to start that process, and kind of dip your toes in that by using Microsoft Word. All right, now we'll go to everyone's favorite. Also, does everybody remember Clippy? It's sad that we don't talk about Clippy anymore because I'm a big fan of Clippy, despite how he would send everybody into a rage on Microsoft Word. All right, but we're back. So we're going to talk about the clipboard. And this is something that is powerful, but caveat to it all is you have to turn it on. So this is something that stores up to 24 things that you cut or copy from anywhere. It doesn't even have to be a Word document, it can be from the internet and things like that, but you have to turn it on. So here's how you do it. You go to the home screen, and then in the home screen, you'll see there's this kind of clipboard right here, and then there's this button, which Adriana Linares would call this insultingly small button, and you will click it. And then here's your clipboard. So mine is already turned on, and you see I've already copied something from before, and that's why it's there. Ooh, Control Z on that one. And so I'm going to clear all of this real quick. And so here's how you turn it on. So this panel has now been expanded. Go all the way down to the very bottom left-hand corner. Click on Options. So all of these, chances are they are not currently checked off. Check off all of these. And this will turn on the clipboard feature for you. So now that you have enabled this, you are good to go. And so for instance, now let's say you want to copy a paragraph. Control C, right? We're learning, and it automatically saves that into your clipboard. So up to 24 things, remember. And the cool thing about this is you can literally go anywhere. So let's say you are on the internet, look at us go, and you are trying to save, you see something that you want to save, but you don't necessarily want to paste it into a document yet. That's fine. This is just a case summary of a case that caused me a lot of trauma in law school. So, so let's say you just want to highlight part of this, no problem. So just do that. Or as we already know, it actually works on the internet too. Control, triple click, does the whole paragraph. Control C will copy it. And then would you look at that? It's already here, saved into your clipboard. And the cool thing about it all too with this is it's not just text that you can save. It is also random random images. So let's say you want this image, this is just Smokeball's website, just say copy image. Well, guess what? That will now be copied into your clipboard and you can insert it wherever you want. The key is when you want to insert anything from your clipboard, take your mouse and wherever your mouse is, that will dictate where it goes, right? So if I put it right there, guess what? It's going to go right there. So that's the big thing about clip. Control Z that because I did not want it there. But so that's the cool thing to remember is you can legitimately go anywhere on the internet or in any other Word document, things like that, and you can copy it and it will go straight into your clipboard, which is to me amazing and not utilized enough, I think. Oh, but also a word of caution to this is that when you log out of Microsoft Word, you cannot store this clipboard. So be very, very careful. So what you can do instead, if you don't want to lose your work, things like that, you can just go File, open up a new document, or you've already, you can click on it from your handy dandy quick access toolbar, or you can say Control N and do this. And then you can actually paste all of your clipboard into here. And then you can just save as and save it as clipboard clippings or clippings as of, January 16th, things like that. So you can always do something like that to save your clippings. But we're not going to save it right now. So just FYI. Now let's go into, oh, and then obviously if you want to clear it, just clear all. Super easy. If you don't want to see your clipboard, also fine. Out of sight, out of mind on that one. It will still continue saving things for you or saving these clippings, even if it's not open on the left side of your screen. So just keep that in mind. It doesn't have to be open or you don't have to see it in order for it to still function. Now let's talk about everyone's favorite, which sends most people into a conniption fit, is paste options. And we're just going to go over that pretty quickly too, because I've got a lot of stuff to hit, but paste options, super easy, right? So let's say you're going to highlight an entire paragraph, Control C, and now I would like to paste it. And in order to paste it right, you already know that's going to be Control V. And what's interesting here is you will see a pop-up box that says Control. If you click on it, it will give you your paste options. And if you hover over it, oops, oh no, did my computer decide to freeze on me? Oh no. Okay, well, hold please. It's because Austin is so cold today. And my computer has decided to do it too. Ah, there we go. That was weird. Alrighty. Oh, maybe not. Still not. What did I do? Okay, well, I'm just going to open up another one. So hold please. There we go. Thank you. All right, so you'll see when you do that and you click on Control, it'll give you these options that you can hover over, and it kind of gives you an idea of what this will look like if you paste it. So there are 3 options here. One is keep source formatting. Keep source formatting is trash. So just FYI on that. If you do keep source formatting, it's going to paste it the way that you found it. So if you paste it, if you copied it from a document that had Times New Roman size 14, and you paste it into this document that has Calibri size 14, it will still give you that Times New Roman font, which nobody wants, right? You want everything to look uniform. So it's very rare that you'll use keep source formatting. I don't like it, and I hate that it's the default for a lot of people. We'll tell you how to change that in a minute. But the next one is merge formatting, which is going to be the best bang for your buck, in my opinion. So to the extent that your document is set up properly, and I'll talk about that, and has the correct default font that you want, the correct default size, it's going to adopt the master font and size of that document. So this is really what you want. If I'm pasting it into this document that I'm working from, I want everything to look uniform in accordance with this document. Now, picture is trash. Do not use it unless you have to. There's like sometimes when you'll use this, the picture feature on this, the picture paste feature, but generally you won't. You can't edit it. You can't do anything with it. It just gives you a picture. Sometimes it's nice, I guess, if you want to turn something into not being able to, you know, a non-editable thing. But truly, I never use it and I hate it. So we're just going to delete that. But the other one that you'll also really never use is just keep text only. There's some good and there's some bad with this. It'll use whatever font that you paste it into for that particular paragraph, but it's also going to remove extraneous formatting. It might get rid of italics, it'll get rid of bolds and any links that you put and things like that. It will only give you the text. So generally, you're not really going to ever use that. You're still just going to use merge formatting the most, honestly. Now, if you look up here, there is a button in your home ribbon called Paste. So same thing that just happened when we had that pop-up, it'll give you the same exact options. So you can do that. What I really want you to do though, is set your default paste. And this is gonna change your life. So go down, because this is what caused me the most anger and rage before. So go down to cut, copy, and paste. I've already changed all of mine, but the default is keep source formatting. Change it. Change it now, and you're going to be so much happier for it. So just keep merge formatting for these. If it says when style definitions conflict, do a keep text only on that one. That's better, but the rest of them will be merge formatting, and that's going to make your life so much easier, I promise. But really, truly, play around with all three, you know, of these paste functions and see which one you like better, see which one works out better for you. So maybe you do need to set your default to something else, which is completely fine. But just FYI on that, it's going to be merge formatting is going to be the best thing that you could possibly do. All right, so let's go into what I like to call Jordan's favorite tips and settings that you kind of want to demystify. I have a huge problem when it comes to the shortcuts that Microsoft Word automatically gives you. So for instance, if I say C, because I'm trying to cite to subsection C of a document, it automatically just gives me this copyright symbol that I hate. Or for instance, if I'm trying to do subsection E, it'll go automatically to a euro, which again, I hate. I don't need that. I'm just trying to get to subsections. So your first line of defense on these, so let's say you did this C. Your first line of defense to that is to say Control Z, and that's going to bring it back to where you need it. And again, that's just that undo feature. So Control Z or undo is going to get you to that. Control Z obviously will be your best friend. And same with the euro situation, Control Z or undo is going to get that for you immediately. But you can actually eliminate this altogether. So come along this wonderful journey with me. So go to the insert ribbon and then go all the way here to the right and click on symbol. And you'll see there's all these symbols. Go to more symbol. And here's what I want to correct. So I'm going to click on copyright symbol because I hate it and go to autocorrect. And you see it says that it autocorrects C to this. I want to delete that because I do not want it happening anymore. And you know what else? I also want to delete this. And then I'm going to say OK. And then click close. So now, hopefully, if I've done this right, when you do C or when you do E, it no longer autocorrects. So anything that is annoying to you, that autocorrects that you hate, you can fix all of that. And then also too, you can add your own shortcuts into here. So I use this all the time, right? For sections, when I'm citing to statutes and case law and things like that, I would like to have a shortcut so I don't have to keep clicking on that symbol icon every time I want to insert it. So maybe every time I do, this, and I say parentheses S, and then I'll say add. That's now adding a brand new shortcut. And I click OK. So anytime I now type that in, it will autocorrect that. So if there is a particular symbol that you use all the time that is not readily available, make it into a shortcut. It's amazing. Highly, highly recommend it. And then as far as securing documents goes, so this was something that we had to do. Oh, and I'll actually move this so that, I have to see the bottom of it. But so something that we had to do at our firm a lot, because the firm administrator or the managing partner would make a document and they would say, okay, hey, here's the master document. Do not save over it. Please do not save over it. And then what would inevitably happen? And I know that quite a few of you are laughing right now because because attorneys are dumb and we do things like this all the time. So somebody would save over it, right, when they were working on their own case or when they were trying to email their own client about a billing dispute or issue, right? They would save over that document. So what you can do is, if you're not using some sort of practice management software that already allows this, is you can actually make this a read-only file. So if you want to save something on the firm drive and make sure that no associate or anybody else saves over it, right? Because this is your master document that you have spent a lot of time on. Please, associate, stop. You can make this into a read-only. And here's how you do that. You go to the review ribbon up here. So look up top on your document, go to the review ribbon, and then you're going to click on restrict editing. And that's going to open up this little box here where you can say allow only this type of document editing, and then you can just say no changes. It's going to be a read-only document. And then when you say yes, start enforcing protection, that will make it a read-only document so that when you save it, it is read-only and they cannot edit it. You are the only one that can edit it, or you can add other people in your firm to edit if you want. But you are the only person, so that you eliminate that issue again of somebody saving over your documentation, which again, super fun when it happens. And that's sarcasm because I know it's terrible because I've done it before and I've seen the chaos that it sows. So let's exit out of that one. Another one is you'll start hearing this more and more, I would say, from your firm and from the powers that be with regard to that. When you start talking, especially to your COO and things like that, they're going to start mentioning probably more and more about removing metadata. And that's something that attorneys have already had to grapple with, or they need to be grappling with, because a lot of state bars have actually said that you need to start doing it. And so it's a lot easier than you would think. So to remove metadata from a document, all you have to do is go to File, and then go to Info, and then you'll see Check for Issues. So you're inspecting this document, check for issues, and then I want to inspect the document. And it'll comment, it'll type in, hey, here, what do you want to inspect? I just default click all of them and say inspect. So this is what metadata is. This document properties and personal information section, when people talk about metadata, that's what it is, because it can actually tell you the original author of the document. And sometimes it's a little awkward too. So for instance, if you've had people come and go and leave your firm, but they've maybe made some of your master documents that you use that you send out, sometimes that can be a little awkward, because if you inspect the document, it will show them as the prior author, and they're somebody that no longer works with the firm. Obviously not a big deal, right, in the grand scheme of things, but it's nice to be able to just get all that removed so that it's not even an issue ever in the future. So you can click remove all, and that will remove all of the metadata from your document. Super, super easy. I would just kind of start getting into the habit of doing it, honestly. And then another one too, before we kind of get into more of the slides too, because I want to show you some stuff. But a big thing is that not a lot of people know about and they don't want to use is, a lot of times we type in all caps, or we have, titles or things like that that are in all caps, which is great. However, because I have the feature on. However, usually the default is when you type in all caps, Microsoft Word does not autocorrect it for you, or does not spell check it for you, which is annoying because there can still be misspellings when you're typing in all caps, right? So you can absolutely fix this. I don't know why their default is to not have this turned on. It makes zero sense to me, but anywho, so go over to File, go to Options, which is down at the very bottom. I don't know why they do this. Microsoft got some words to speak to Bill Gates, but click on Options in the bottom left-hand corner, and then click on Proofing. And you see the default is that this is going to be selected on yours. So it says ignore words in uppercase. No, I want you to spell check that for me, Microsoft Word. So you are going to unclick that. So now it will spell check that for you. Click OK. So now anytime you misspell something, it will tell you, and it will tell you how to fix it. So I don't know why, again, that's the default, but it is. And Bill Gates in his infinite wisdom made that the default, but definitely turn that off so that it will start spell checking those caps for you. That's a big, big one for me. And then we'll talk about changing the default font, which is a super, super big one for me. I did not really realize up until a few years ago that this was something I could do, which sounds ridiculous because I've been using Microsoft Word for, a decade of my life or more, so that's kind of crazy. But here's the deal. Choose the default font and the font size that you want. So for the vast majority of documents, maybe you have to do it in Times New Roman because that's what the partner likes, or maybe the firm has to do it in Calibri or Arial because that's what the court likes. It really just depends, but pick the font that is most applicable for you and then make that into your default. And here's how you're going to do that. You're going to open up a brand new Word document. So again, Control N, look at us go, new document, or you can click on that. And so once you do that, you will open it up. And here's something, a little bit of a warning. You need to do this on a brand new document because the changes that you make to this default part of your document, they're not retroactive. They are only for new documents moving forward. So just keep that in mind. Nothing changes from the past. Sadly, we cannot change the past, but we can change the future when it comes to your default font. So go to your home ribbon, right? So upper right, upper left-hand corner, and then go to font, right? Which we are all familiar with, and click on this insultingly small button. And you'll see it gives you all this font. You can choose exactly what you want. So maybe you do need Times New Roman. And so I'm going to click that. It needs to be 12. That's just what the firm wants. That's what they've dictated. Completely fine. And then you'll see here, there's this button that says set as default. And it will ask you, do you want to do this default only for this document or for all documents? And you want to do it for all documents. And then you'll click OK, and then your new default is set. So literally anything you want, any font that you want, any size that you want, here's where to do it. So it's a pretty powerful, phenomenal tool that not enough people use. And this is what gets you really angry when you start pasting stuff into a document, right? And then you have to redo all of the font and the sizing and things like that. You can just change the default font and take all that stress out of your life just by doing that. So, and same with paragraphs too. You can do that and make default paragraph settings. So for instance, at the firm that I work at, it's 1.5 lines. Everything we draft is 1.5 lines, and that's kind of the rule that we were given from on high with regard to that. So you can also set that as your default too. If you have special line spacing or something that you want, you can set it as default. So you can customize this as much as you want, which is super, super cool. So just one of those things that I would recommend. And now we'll get back into the slides. Say Clippy. It's so sad that we're leaving him. But again, I really do think that Clippy's going to make a comeback at some sort. At some point, Clippy's going to come back to us. Right, and I'm just going to keep flipping through here. Remember, all these slides are available to you as a resource. So I've already gone over all of these that I'm going through right now. Same with final tips, things like that. So all of that, just watch the videos back and you'll be able to see. But the slides are here definitely for you for reference. And then before we get into the Q&A section, I really just wanted to shamelessly talk about, again, Smokeball, who is sponsoring today's session. But really, truly, if you are looking for something to take your firm to the next level and make administrative tasks easier and make the firm more money, which I'm a big fan of, I highly, highly encourage you to look into Smokeball. Really think about it as your entire firm's ecosystem, but we digitized it, we've automated it. So there's no more having to keep 5 million tabs open and maintain 7 different logins, just to work your job, just for the day and things like that. At a minimum, I really recommend that you look into our Outlook and our Word integrations. There is nothing like it. It took my firm to the next level, and actually my old managing partner is now a Smokeball user, so they have also seen the light. And I briefly touched on this earlier, but our automatic time tracking feature is something that will blow your mind. So if you have problem children at your firm, I used to be one of them, who had issues with submitting their time to you, and Excel is just not cutting it, this feature is about to become your new best friend and is going to pay for itself. So it's pretty phenomenal. So as we're about to go into Q&A, really make sure to put your questions into that chat box, and I'll get to those in the next few minutes. But if you'd like to learn more about what Smokeball does, how automation works, what a practice management system is, or if you want to see how Smokeball compares to what you currently have at your firm, you can select yes for this poll that we're going to launch in a minute. It's really a great way to learn about how Smokeball can be customized to your firm's needs, like it was for me and like it was for my prior firm too. So it was pretty cool to see, all these attorneys get on board with it. So we're going to launch the poll right now, Larika. Let's see. I think. There we go. So here's the poll question. So it's just, would you like to speak with a Smokeball representative? So while y'all are answering this poll, I really wanted to give a shout out to some of my favorite features when it comes to Smokeball. One is our Outlook integration. So imagine never having to save down an email ever again, which attorneys are notoriously bad about. Y'all are great about it. I recognize my problems, and my problem is saving down emails in Microsoft Word, or saving down emails in Outlook, I mean. And so that was always a big issue for me, and that's something that Smokeball can completely eliminate. It just does it for you in the background. Same with the word automation, which I know you saw a little bit about what we do in some of the prior slides when I was explaining about what automation was. Insanely powerful, saves you a bunch of time, and it's just incredible to just see how it works. Honestly, I really do encourage you to look into that and see how it works. And then auto time, which was my baby, because I was so terrible at it. And again, shout out to Angie if she's watching. I'm so sorry for causing you trauma with relation to my time. But Smokeball has a feature called automatic time tracking, which basically makes it so that it lives in the background of your computer. So every time you open up an email, it logs that you're reading that email. It logs for what client you're reading that email about. Same with Microsoft Word. If you open up a document to draft in Microsoft Word, it is tracking how long you have spent inside that document and for which case it pertains to. And so that way, at the end of every day, when you click out of Smokeball, it gives you a report that says, here's what your day was. Do you want to put this into a draft invoice? And the answer is always yes. So it knows that I spent 2 hours drafting this final decree of divorce in the Smith case, and then it'll spit out an invoice that I can give directly to Miss Smith, which is pretty crazy. All right, and let's see, and the poll is now gone. So now we're going to get into the Q&A section. I think I need the ball back, Larika. Oh, there it is, okay. All right, and we're gonna go. Here we go. Oh, there's the poll. There we go. Okay, so questions. Austin, do we have any questions?
Hi, Jordan. We do have a question here from an attendee. How do you get attorneys to get used to marking citations when they have to do briefs?
How do you get them used to marking citations?
Get used to marking citations when they have to do briefs.
Okay, so every attorney is a special snowflake, and y'all all know this. I'm not telling you anything different that you already know. Sometimes it's just repetition. Sometimes it depends if this is somebody that's higher up, like a senior associate, or if it's a managing partner, or is it a baby attorney? If it's a baby attorney, that's easier to nip in the bud, right? Because then you're just going to ask the managing partner to go and like put some sort of shame spell on them, which is very effective, right? So if you're complaining, and here's the deal, your managing attorney or the CEO of your firm should have your back on this when it comes to that, because you're just trying to look out for the firm and these attorneys that are just running rampant, not knowing how to cite things and not knowing how to do things properly. So that's going to be your weapon on that one is always going to be guilt and shame first. So if you can get somebody higher up to explain to them why this is a problem and why it's important for the firm, that's going to be the best thing that you can possibly do. But a lot of it too, in kind of what I said before about the shortcuts for Microsoft Word, a lot of it is just about muscle memory and repetition. So maybe it's going to take somebody sitting down with that attorney, and maybe it means that that attorney is required to practice that for 5 minutes every day, and then report back to another associate to make sure that they're doing it, things like that. So shame is like a very big motivating factor when it comes to attorneys. Now, if it's a managing partner or a senior associate that's doing it, good luck to you. I would love to be able to tell you I have this fun little trick that works that makes managing partners, obey, but I just don't have that for you because they are their own worst enemy, I feel like, with a lot of this stuff. So, and maybe there's somebody in the chat that has that has had the same problem and has had a solution that can post about it, but nah, for me, it would never have happened, but good luck.
Great, great. Here we have another one, Jordan. Do you have any favorite shortcuts, Microsoft Word shortcuts you recommend? Anything you think people should utilize?
Yep, so what I said before, I'm going to share my screen again. So really about the shortcuts feature for the symbols and things like that would probably be my favorite just because I use it so much and it was causing me so much stress to find all these different symbols and things like that before I had it as a shortcut. So that's going to be a major, major one for me. Another one too, which a lot of people don't do, but they absolutely should, is this screenshot feature. So here, let me find a cooler way to do this. So I'm going to show this in all of its glory. So this is kind of Microsoft Word adjacent or related. So let's get this over here. So let's say you're just around the internet, or maybe you're looking at a report. And this report is about a problem child attorney that is not getting their hours in on time. And so you've printed out this, or you have this report pulled up about their time or lack thereof, and you would like to send just part of it. I don't need to send the full report to the managing partner. I just need to point out, really what I want them to see, because chances are if I send it to them as an attachment, they will never look at it, which is super great. And so what I'll do instead is I just want to include it as a picture and part of my email or this Microsoft Word document. So this is, I have a piece of hair in my teeth. Okay, so what you'll do instead is you'll do a screenshot, or like a print. It's almost like what would have been a print screen a while ago, but you can now do a screenshot. They call it a snipping tool in Microsoft land. But what you're going to do if you have a PC, you're going to hold down the Windows logo key, so the one that gets, that says, hey, power down, restart your computer. You're going to hold it down, and then you're also going to hold down the Shift key, and then you're going to click on the S key. So Windows key, Shift, S, as in Sam, and you'll see this kind of darkens your computer a little bit if y'all are able to see this, and then you can take a little snippet of whatever you want from the screen. So maybe it's this. I just want to take a whole little picture of this. And so once it does that, you can go back into your Word document. Let's just make some space here. And then you just paste it. So Control V, right, as in Victor, we'll paste it in there. So super, super cool tool. Not nearly enough people use it because you can use it for anything. If you see something on the internet, if there's something from a different document that you just want to grab really quick, but you don't want to include anything as an attachment, you just want to input it into the document itself. Especially if it has something to do with billables and things like that, instead of having to go and, hey, here's attach this XYZ. If you're really just trying to show them, hey, here's a snapshot and this is what I want you to see from this report, this is a phenomenal way to do it, right? Because it's almost like a glorified copy paste screen share feature, right? So that's got to be one of my favorites that doesn't get utilized enough, is my big thing on that one. And then also too, another one of my favorites, because I think, yeah, we have some time. That's good. Keep asking your questions if you want, Austin. You can always interrupt me if we have more. But another really, really good one that I like is going back to symbols, right? So if we go back to the symbols, which I added to our quick access toolbar, look at us go, go to more symbols, and then let's go back to this autocorrect, feature. Actually, wait, no, I want to go to shortcut key. There we go. So shortcut key, the cool thing about it all is you can, what am I trying to say? You can customize this as much as you want. So for instance, if I want to type my name all the time and I don't want to type it out fully, maybe I just want to use my initials and just have it pop up, that can be your new shortcut key. And so you can do whatever you want with it. So for instance, oh, where did it go? Dun, 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 dun. Oh yeah, where you can capitalize it, that's fine. Where'd it go? Here we go. Oh, but I don't want to do commands. Oh, I've messed this up because I changed too much on my computer. But essentially what you can do is, we just have to insert it, I think. So let's play around with this. But essentially, let's say that you are typing in your name a lot or your firm's name a lot. And, you know, some of our firm names can be very long, right? So maybe your firm, you know, is Henderson, Lee, Trudy Smith, right? So HLTS. And you don't want to write out Henderson, you know, Lee, Trudy Smith for a million times. So you can actually make that into, its own little shortcut, right? So you can actually do that and then replace it with that. So every time you type it in, it will pop up and then you can do it as a shortcut, which is a big one too. So essentially, if it's something that you're using a lot of, you're using a lot of the same words over and over again, and it's getting cumbersome to type them out all the friggin' time, use that. And especially that's also where we start getting tired, and that's also where we start making mistakes, right? That's going to be one of the bigger issues, because once we get tired, our own names get misspelled. Certainly our firm names gets misspelled, especially if you have an interesting firm name, which I know a lot of us do, or we have in the past. And so it can kind of get, you know, not only is it a tongue twister, but it also doesn't help when you type it out. That's one of the big ones too. You can make it into its own character symbol. And so it can expand to read the whole firm name if you just type in, you know, HLTS, things like that. So that's probably one of my favorites to do. But really that screenshot one, if there's one thing that you get out of this from my favorites, other than changing your symbols feature and things like that, and also making sure that it spells, or that it spell checks all your caps, it's really just that screenshot feature is my favorite, where it's that Windows key Shift S, and you can, you know, take a snippet from wherever you want. This is also really nice to do too, especially if you want to tell the attorneys in your firm, if you look through a lot of text messages, you're going to become their best friend for telling them this. If they have, you know, iMazing or something open, you can go and do that, you know, Windows key Shift S, and they can just copy paste those text messages into a document or a briefing, which is fabulous. Yep. And then I'm trying to think if there's anything else. And Austin, just call out if there's another question. But in these last couple of minutes, I'll see if there's some goodies that I had to glance over too much. But also oh, sorry, go ahead, Austin.
All good, Jordan. I think we have time for one more question here. Here's one from an attendee. How do you incorporate Microsoft Word into your case manager software, like Smokeball per se?
Yeah, so it depends on which case management software you're using. Like Smokeball works seamlessly with Word, so it's a lot easier. You don't have to do anything. It's already there. So for instance, if the client file is set up, everything that you open up within that file in Word is automatically going to be saved back down to that file. So if I open up a pleading to draft or a letter to a client, and I open it up in that client's file and it's just a Word document, it automatically knows that this relates to that particular client. It's going to automatically be saved back down into that client's file. And then say I want to send an email to that client with this PDF of a Word document that I just wrote, that also will, the system knows that it's related to that client. That email will be saved down in that client's file, as will that PDF automatically. So that's kind of how it all works. And as far as if you're kind of shopping around for practice management softwares and things like that, if you are utilizing Microsoft Word, and if the vast majority of your firm does too, that's going to be one of the #1 things that you're going to ask them about. Do they have automations with regard to Microsoft Word? Did they automatically save things down, or are you having to save things down in the system? And what I mean by that is there's some kind of older systems, or it just depends on how clunky it is, like our old system, I'm not going to name names, but our old document management system and storage system, if we saved a document into it, I was having to choose where to save it down, what type of document it was. You know, it was a 5-minute process just to save the document down into the system. And I would have to save it down, you know, into my desktop first and then save it into the system just for my own peace of mind. So it got really annoying after a while. But that's what I would ask about, is really, does it fully integrate with Word, and ask them what that means, right? So if I open up a Word document, is it related back to my case or not, or am I going to have to resave that document, things like that. But let me get back to the slides here, and I can get wrap this up for y'all. And so I really appreciate everyone for joining. This has been amazing. I love, love, love Microsoft Word, which is a sad state of affairs for me, but it is what it is. If you have any questions whatsoever that I did not get to, or you just, didn't want to ask the group, totally fine. Just shoot me an email, jordan.turk@smokeball.com, or that QR code will take you to my LinkedIn. Feel free to send me a message on that, but I'll turn it back over to Larika. I really appreciate y'all having me.